and water well informed, but what we've been said so far is the runways were closed to clear the snow, and they've cleared one for inbound traffic only.
Right. So,
but we...
Inbound traffic only is allowed to land, but obviously outbound traffic isn't, and I know they are trying to move some flights to other airports as well. Some people who are due to land at the likes of Gatwick are now going to find themselves in Stansted, even potentially Birmingham. Darren, one of the big complaints that we often get in these situations is food and drink on board the aircraft. Have you been catered for well?
Yes, superbly actually. They catered for us well. They turned on the in-flight entertainment, and we're sort of just tucking into some food at the moment, so we have been well looked after.
What about the general mood of your fellow passengers?
They're all pretty upbeat actually. Everyone's been on Facebook and Twitter, because we've been allowed to use mobile communication, so everyone's actually pretty happy, I think. Must be the Christmas period.
It's lucky for Virgin and other airlines as well. Is there a sense of there's nothing the airline can do, this just happens, we've just got to stick in and get along with it? Or deep down, is there a sense of frustration that airports weren't better prepared for the weather?
Personally, I think it's frustration with BAA. It snows, clear a runway, it's not difficult really. So I think a lot of the actual airlines are probably more frustrated with BAA. The airline themselves kept us well informed.
Have you been told, Darren, I do apologise, you're drifting in and out in terms of the signal, but let's persist. Have you been told how long it could be until you set off?
We think there's a slight inkling that we might get a leave at about 4 o'clock today. The pilot is actually icing the plane, so we're ahead of the queue to leave. So that's just going through the icing now, so we can hopefully move a bit quicker and get through the backlog a bit quickly.
Right, so that means that you've been delayed for 5.5 hours sitting on the plane?
Yes.
Crumbs. That's a long journey. That's a long day. And how long is the flight? It's about, last time I did that, it was about 6 hours, 7 hours? Yeah,
it's 7.25 hours, and I'm really thankful that my wife convinced me to upgrade to a little extra leg room.
That's money well spent now, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay, well, I wish you all the best, Darren. Thank you ever so much for the call. I appreciate that. That's Darren, who is stuck on a plane at Heathrow. They're looking at taking off in the next 2 hours or so. If indeed they do go by roughly 4 o'clock, he would have been delayed and sitting on the plane on the tarmac at Heathrow Airport for 5.5 hours. Lots of pics of the blizzard, by the way, on our website, lbc.co.uk, if you want to have a scroll through them. I had a quick look before going on air. They're being updated all the time. Some really interesting photos on there. I do recommend it. lbc.co.uk for pictures of the blizzard, and of course you can get it on 3G as well on your mobile. So if you are stuck at the moment, then maybe have a look and you can see what people across the capital are contending with. Paul Waters is a spokesman for AA. He's on the line now. Paul, I've just said that actually, and I realise it's probably a silly thing to say. Obviously only check the pictures if you're safe to do so, and you're pulled over in a safe spot, not if you're on the road. Paul, from the situation of the AA, I'm being told that you are dealing with double the amount of rescues and emergencies as you would at a typical time of year like this, that you've got a huge strain on your services at the moment. How are you coping?
Well, we're coping not too bad. Obviously we've got extra patrols on, we're getting around to people as quick as we can, but obviously we're under pressure. Yes, we had double the number of calls yesterday. Looks like we're going to be doing the same number of calls today, well over 2,000 by the end of the day, if not more. And the side streets are skating rinks, and even the main roads at the moment are very slushy. So, it's not a good day to be out on the roads, to be honest.
What are you being called out to? What kind of emergencies or incidents?
Well, the usual things are batteries. Batteries are put under great strain in very cold conditions. Non-starts are very common. We've had some snow, obviously, and so the damp, the cold, it all gets into the vehicle electrics and puts an extra strain, and there's an extra effort for the engine to turn over in these cold conditions, and that does sort of kill batteries very quickly. But also, people hitting curves and minor shunts. those sorts of things, and you'd other breakdowns we get, punctures and other sort of routine breakdowns, if I can call them that.
Right, okay. Let's have a bit of generic driving advice off you. What kind of things should we not be doing in these conditions?
The first thing is think about your journey. People say don't travel. That's quite a tough one, but obviously different sorts of journeys have different priorities. If you just fancy popping to the shops, it may not be the day to do it. If you're a key worker, obviously, some of the main roads are okay, but you need to take great care. I mean, the main thing is planning. Sort of check with the route that you're taking to see how bad it is. If you look out the window and the road's covered with thick snow, it's probably not worth trying. It could take you ages to get out, ages to get back. You wish you'd never started. And go easy on the controls, so pre-planning, go easy on the car controls, take a hot drink, take some food, take a charged up mobile phone, try and let somebody know where you're going, what time you roughly hope to get there, and just go easy. Allow loads of extra time for planning, loads of extra time for clearing the car, with getting the ice off the car, snow off the car, and just going light with the controls, light with the steering, light with the brakes, and gentle on the acceleration, and leave a huge distance between you and the vehicle in front.
Yeah, good point. It's a difficult time for the AA, of course. They are almost like an insurance company in a way. You pay your membership and then you hope that you never have to fall on the AA's mercy. You have got a difficult period at the moment where you've got increased call-outs, a 50% markup on last year. Does that put a strain on AA resources or indeed on the business?
Well, obviously, our patrols have to get around. One of the biggest problems is the traffic. With traffic often gridlocked and side streets blocked, it's hard to get to our members. We do have a special operations team that we send to places where there are particular difficulties. Often that isn't central London, because usually central London gets away with most of this, but they have in the past been operating in the suburbs. But we've got patrols in London and they're working as hard as they can. We've got extra call handlers in. Extra patrols are on call when we need them. But yes, we will be very, very busy, and people will have to bear with us, just like they're having to bear with the transport system overall.
Big bother is tonight, when temperatures dip down and some of this snow begins to melt. We're going to have ice rinks right the way across the country, which could be incredibly dangerous and hazardous for driving conditions. Surely the advice tonight from the AA is just do not go on the roads.
I think that's very sound advice. Obviously, if you're making a journey mostly using main roads, you should be okay. But it's those side streets, as soon as you get off the main road, and most people have to, roads are going to be skating rinks. They'll be very dangerous, both people underfoot, who also might sort of slither into the road. There's another hazard for drivers to watch for. But, some cars, any hill, any slight gradient, you ain't going to make it, because the roads will be sheet ice, because some of this has thawed, and there'll be nothing to grip. So it's going to be treacherous.
Good to hear your voice. That's Paul Waters, who's a spokesman for the AA. Paul, you stay warm. Let me just leave you with a wee bit of weather now. Met Office, again, severe weather warnings for heavy snow across London, Sussex, Surrey, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire until 7 o'clock this evening. If you're listening in the Medway area, then it's going to be until 10 o'clock tonight. They are saying as much as 5 to 10 centimetres are going to fall across certain areas of the capital, making driving conditions particularly hazardous. Real problems at the moment on the rails and on the planes with the major airports.